guys, so today we have filmed for you a foundation tutorial. I had one up before, but it was a little bit long and drawn out, and I wanted to film like an updated one. And I know I pretty much do my foundation and everything in every video, but I thought I would do kind of like a more detailed step-by-step, or just kind of have it as its own video if you didn't want to watch the other ones where I did it in there. Plus I got some new foundation, and I just do different stuff. I don't know. And the baby says hi. Tell hello. Say hello. Can you say hi? Say hi. Hello. Hello. We're going to eat lunch and watch Blue's Clues. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you comment, rate, and subscribe if you like us. So we will see you guys soon. Bye. Say bye. Bye-bye. I always like to start by moisturizing my face before I apply makeup, and here I'm using my moisturizer from my acne.org regimen, and I'm just patting that in my skin all over my face. My skin gets really dry and flaky, so I have to make sure that I moisturize really well before I put on any kind of foundation or powder. Always want to make sure that you shake up your foundation before you use it. Here I'm using my new Dior Forever foundation in the color 020. It's just a pump top, and I apply a couple of pumps, like 2 or 3 depending on the coverage that I need, onto the back of my hand. And then I'm going to use my finger and just dot this all over my face. This foundation works really well for me because it's very moisturizing, and since I have dry skin, that really helps to not be so flaky. I like to apply this with my Sigma F80 flat top synthetic kabuki brush. Once I've dotted this all over my face, I take the kabuki brush and I start in downward motions. This will help to just not, let the little fine baby hair stick up on your face, and just give a much smoother application. I'm just pretty much going all over my face with that, and then anything left on the back of my hand I use to fill in any areas that need a little bit of extra coverage once I've blended everything in. And I apparently have some crazy veins sticking out on my forehead. Don't know what's going on with that. Also, sometimes in some spots on my face, like around my mouth and my nose, I'll pat on the foundation rather than blending it with the brush, because that helps to prevent some of the microexfoliation that can happen while you're applying foundation if you're somebody with really flaky, dry skin like I have. At this point, I like to take my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser. I use the color Brightener, and I just apply that below my eyes, obviously in my under eye area, and I kind of apply that in like a V shape, and that's just going to cover up any dark circles under my eyes. This works really great because it doesn't crease really bad, especially if you set it with a powder, and it just really brightens the eye area and makes you look more fresh and awake. I like to then blend that out using my Sigma P86, which is a synthetic bristled taper brush. I pretty much just blend this downward into the rest of my foundation. I don't like to use my fingers because I find that it kind of disturbs my foundation. It makes it look a little bit splotchy. By doing this, you not only brighten the under eye area, but you also kind of highlight your cheekbone area, which is really nice for contouring your face. I have a couple of blemishes on my face that I need to cover up, so for that I'm going to take my Makeup Forever concealer palette, and I have the lightest shade, which is in number 1. This is a really nice cream palette that provides long-lasting coverage. To apply this concealer, I like to use my e.l.f. concealer brush because it's really small and precise and gets the concealer right where I need it. I find that the middle color is the closest to my skin color in this palette, but you could always mix and match the colors to find your perfect shade. And as you can see, I'm just gently dotting that onto any areas that I need a little bit of extra coverage and just kind of blending out the edges, but not so much that it's going to blend out the concealer entirely and you won't even be able to tell where you put it. I like to set my concealer using my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Finishing Powder. The color I have is the shade Nude, and as you can see, I've already hit pan on this because I use it every single day. I like to gently pat this on my under eye area where I've applied that concealer, as well as on any other areas of my face that I've applied concealer, just to set it and make sure that it doesn't start to melt off or crease during the day. Also, since my face tends to be really dry, I generally just set my foundation in my T-zone, which is the only part of my face that really gets oily. Anytime I apply foundation, I like to then go over my face using a bronzing powder to kind of contour. And for that, I prefer to use the NYC Smooth Skin Bronzing Face Powder in the color Sunny because it's a matte bronzer and it really just does a really nice job of contouring the face without giving you any unnecessary shimmer. It's also pretty inexpensive. I think it's only like $3 or $4. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm taking a small brush and I'm just defining the areas of my face where I need contouring, such as my cheekbones and a little bit on the sides of my nose. Basically, this is just going to be a guideline for me to blend this out here in a minute, just so that way it looks really clean and defined and it's not just a mess of bronzer all over my face. You don't have to do this step, but I find that it looks much more just defined and beautiful looking when I do this. You can also put a little bit of bronzer on the tip of your nose to make your nose look a little bit shorter. I'm going to use my Sigma large angled contour brush, my F40, to apply a little bit more bronzer and just to blend out the areas where I applied those lines earlier. Obviously, I'm not going to leave it like that because that would look a little bit crazy. So I'm basically just going to blend in the areas where I applied those guidelines, and even though it's going to soften it up a bit, it's still going to look really clean and well defined. I of course want my face, neck, and chest to all match, so I'm going to bring a little bit of bronzer down onto my jawline, onto my neck, and some on my chest, just so I don't look like I have a really tan face and then my neck and chest be really white, because that's like the whitest area of my body, so I have to put a little bit of bronzer on there so it doesn't look so crazy. I also like to apply a little bit of bronzer onto the sides of my temples and on my forehead. My forehead is a little bit high, so I like to contour up there so it doesn't look so huge. Just make sure you move your hair out of the way because nobody wants orange hair, okay? Next step is blush, and my favorite brush to use for that is my Sigma Small Contour Brush, the F05. This will obviously change day by day depending on the look that I'm doing, but for today I'm going to use my NARS blush in the color Orgasm. I really like this blush because it's very complementary to most skin tones. It's a nice soft pink color with a little bit of shimmer in it. I'm going to gently pat the brush into my blush, and if I get a little bit too much on the brush, which does happen sometimes, I like to just pat that off on the side of my hand. That way I don't get a ton of blush on my face and look like a clown. I'm basically going to start blending that into my face using soft swirling motions, and I'm just going to go slightly above the area where I applied the bronzer. I like to smile a little bit when I do this just to get a little bit on the apples of my cheeks, but mostly I like to bring this up on my face so it kind of contours my face as well. Using my e.l.f. blush brush, I'm going to apply some highlight to the tops of my cheekbones. I like to use several different ones, but for this one, I'm going to use my new Hard Candy Tiki bronzer. It's not really a bronzer because it's really light and shimmery, but this brush is my favorite for applying highlight because it's in just the perfect shape and it's really soft. So I'm basically just going to apply that right on the tops of my cheekbones above where I applied the blush. You can also go a step further and apply this right above your lip and to the bottom of your chin and maybe a little bit on your forehead. I don't do that because I actually found that it was causing me to break out in those areas, so I just stick to the tops of my cheekbones where I don't usually get breakouts. But if you don't normally break out in those other areas, I would definitely suggest doing that because it looks really pretty. Once you're done with your makeup completely, I would recommend setting with some kind of setting spray, but I'm not completely finished, so I'm not going to do that yet. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!